Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome everyone into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. And everyone, welcome into the program. I hope that you're ready for today's show because we have a great one for you. We have the one, the only Mr. Ralph Bond. He'll be joining us here to talk all about, well, 4 different stories. And these stories are going to range from everything from working out, well, or the lack of need to work out, thanks to Google. Everything from working out to heart disease and lung disease diagnostics, and just, ladies and gentlemen, his gamut is just all over the place. So this is always a nice potpourri of stories out there. If you want to find out more, computeramerica.com will have links to everything. Ralph does an amazing job with the show notes. You can find all the links there to everything that we talk about. If you're driving, if you are busy, don't worry, we have your back. Just head on out to our site and you can find everything there. So for everyone out there who is returning, thank you so much. For everyone out there who is new, welcome. We have with us our science and technology trends correspondent, being Ralph Bond. And we will tell you more of what he does here in just a moment. But everyone, let's go ahead, get started on today's program. And you know what? We'll just have fun with it. It's a nice way to kind of head out into the weekend and with some upbeat news. So with that being said, Ralph, welcome back onto the program. How you been?
Oh, great. It's great to be back. And again, folks, to amplify on what Ben was just saying, what we do each Friday is look at 4 recent articles, that show us where we're headed in artificial intelligence, robotics, medical technology, sustainable energy technology, transportation advances, agri-tech, space research, physics, you name it. And most important of all, we're going to give you an oasis of positive news thanks to the world of science and technology.
Absolutely. And, as I said before, the show notes are going to be super important for today's program because, what Ralph does is he adds a lot of value, and that value is going to, don't worry, we'll let you know. But there's always more to find out in the show notes. It is, I guess, long story short. So definitely check that out. But Ralph, actually, before we're going to get started with these stories, I wanted to tell a quick little aside. Everyone, be careful of scammers on social media. And, that may seem like a very obvious thing. I'm sure a lot of you have heard it, ad nauseum, but I'm going to do it again because it bears repeating. And I'm going to tell real quick a little personal story of how my wife, who, by the time she hears this, I'll be in a safe room. She got a message from one of her family members. The family member, is obviously family. We know her. Ralph, she's a very helpful lady. And it looks like, in real life, she's a very, very helpful lady. This family member that contacted Bridget over Facebook. And, she does so much help with so many people that when she said, "Oh, I'm helping a friend with, an estate sale," or it was essentially an estate sale, she didn't really think twice. She was like, okay, she would totally do something like that, which is the whole reason why I think this whole scam worked on her. She was selling everything from, an old, like a 2023 truck for, like $8,000. They were selling like a camera for like $500. That was normally like $2,000. Really high ticket, desirable items that this person owned, like a PlayStation 5. And I'm like, this 90-year-old is selling a PlayStation 5? Like, that kind of started setting off things. Ralph, long story short, the scammers had gotten into her account, the family member's account, posted these images, posted these posts, limited the comments so that no one could comment and say, "Hey, is this real?" or "Hey, this is a scam." And then contacted all of her friends and family and said, "Hey, do you want this stuff?" Sent them money, and she actually did send the money over tried to buy a camera for a couple $100. Actually sent the money over. What's the one that like Bank of America and other use? Zelle, I want to say it's like Zelle.
Sounds familiar.
Sent the money. Luckily, Ralph, they had flagged that account that was receiving the money as a scammer, so she was able to get the money back. Normally, they wouldn't be able to get it back at all. And yeah, she got taken. Someone who I believe to be probably the smartest person that I know, and, you know, got past all of our defenses, got past all of our skepticism, and Ralph, like, we got scammed. It was crazy. Like, even, the host of Computer America did not immediately spot a scam. That's crazy.
Well, they're so elegant and so clever. I've gotten threatening emails purportedly from my own email account, and the Microsoft tech support team educated me that the scammers are so clever they can figure out a way to make it look like you sent yourself an email. And the threatening thing says, "You'll notice I've been able to use your account, and I've gotten into your whole system, and I'm going to tell all your relatives what a horrible person you are, and all this. And send me cryptocurrency." And I've learned that that's all, of course, crazy crap. And then my Facebook scam, to add to your thing, I'm always very suspicious when I get a friend request and the person requesting to be my friend shares only one of my several hundred friends as a reference. And, you know, the first couple of times I'd go, "Well, okay, I'll be your friend." And then I start getting these weird messages like, "Hi, handsome man, can we talk?" You know, that kind of weird stuff. And so I always block those people out. Now I just disregard any friend request that doesn't have multiple friends. And sometimes I'll even contact the purported person that supposedly is the friend and say, "Do you know this? You recognize it?" And they go, "No, I have no." So it's another example of the elegance and the dastardliness of some of these scammers. And
yeah, the scammers definitely know how to get past your immediate sense of skepticism. Ladies and gentlemen, be out there, be careful. But of course, the thing that eventually tripped up these scammers was asking questions. That's the best thing that you can do. You know, verify. Like, you know, if it is your family, say, "Hey, could you text me on my phone?" Or, "Hey, can we, move this to text messaging?" Because they probably won't have your phone number. You know, they just have the access to the Facebook account.
Right.
So,
good counsel.
Ask questions. Be skeptical. Verify. Just it doesn't. Even if your family gets offended, it doesn't matter. Just ask questions, and they'll trip themselves up immediately. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Good advice.
There's my story. That happened a couple of weeks ago, and I just wanted to, just tell the nice folks out there that, hey, this stuff even affects, everyone out there. It's not just you.
Yes.
Don't feel embarrassed. It happens. So there you go.
It happens.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching the video portion, you see my face, you see Ralph's face, but you also see the show notes. And you can, of course, see that we're going to start with story number 1. And, the pictures say 1,000 words. They look like cargo pants, if you are familiar with the look. But, hey, they could actually make you a better walker. So, Ralph, let's talk about Google for a bit.
This is a great one. And again, we're now going to move into positive uplifting. Okay. This comes from wonderfulengineering.com. The headline here: "These new powered pants by Google's X Labs will allow you to skip up mountains." Lots of links, video, and so forth that Ben is showing you if you're watching the video portion. And here's the story. Skip Innovations, Inc., an offshoot from Google X Labs, has developed an innovative exoskeleton known as Mo/Go. So that's MO/GO pants. These advanced powered pants are designed to enhance leg strength by up to 40%, making the wearer feel approximately 30 pounds lighter, significantly reducing the physical exertion required during outdoor activities, or frankly, any kind of activities that involve walking or climbing, in my opinion. The MoGo, which is short for mountain goat, features a hybrid, soft, rigid exoskeleton integrated into rugged outdoor trousers. Trousers. My mom used to say trousers. That's old school for pants, folks. It uses knee joint servo motors to assist the quadriceps and hamstrings by providing a substantial power boost during walking or hiking. Wow. It's powered by a battery that provides over 3 hours of assistance using regenerative mechanisms to recharge while moving downhill, similar to regenerative braking in electric vehicles. And in the show notes, I've added an optional timeout, a little bit of information about what the heck is regenerative braking. You hear about it all the time. It's in my car. But what does this mean? You can come to the show notes and learn a little tutorial about what is regenerative braking, which actually is very, very interesting, very elegant mechanical engineering, by the way. Now, back to the story. The MoGo pants have already demonstrated significant benefits, enabling people with mobility issues to perform activities they previously couldn't. And here's the key. While not classified as a medical device, the MoGo aims to alleviate muscle and joint strain, potentially offering relief to individuals with conditions like Parkinson's disease. However, reality check here, obtaining medical device classification and insurance coverage could take years. So this is a device that's out there. It is available. I like it because its future application for medical purposes could be so great for helping people with disabilities. But again, it's going to take years to get that classification. But for now, Skip offers the MoGo pants for rental in the Western United States and Canada, with plans to sell the product at, get out your wallet, $2,250 per leg later this year. Okay, time out. Although this price point is high, as the article points out, they also have rental options at around $80. They don't indicate, what is it, $80 a week, $80 a month? I don't know, to make the technology more accessible. But for me, in the world of anything that could help people with physical disabilities, how wonderful this could be. And it looks like such an elegant solution. You slip on the pants and, charge up the battery and away you go. 3 hours of performance. So that's pretty impressive.
I think that obviously, like, for now, they want to be noticed. They want you to kind of see the mechanics kind of out there and whatnot. Because Ralph, they're trying to market this thing.
Sure.
But I imagine probably already you could put on pants and you can have these kind of under your pants and kind of on your legs. And no one would ever know. It'd be completely just you and more mobility. And I can imagine so many use cases that 30 pounds doesn't sound like a lot. But it could mean the difference between, being able to fully walk around town or, not having to use a mobility device. So,
yeah.
Very, very cool. And of course, the video that they're showing on their website shows people walking around San Francisco. I completely get it. That place is just nothing but hills. I understand why they made these pants that walk for you. I wanted them while I was there as well. So there you go.
Yeah.
Story number 1. Story number 2. Let's go ahead and skip on down here, where we're going to talk about, a lot of what we talk about here on the show is treating diseases, coming up with new, obviously new treatments, new implants, new ways to combat diseases. But a big trend that Ralph has highlighted, and rightfully so, is, early diagnostic is probably one of the best things you could do to help fight or, cure a disease. If you know it's coming way before it happens, you can really take steps to stop it. Story number 2 has a lot of promise for heart and lung disease.
It absolutely does. And by the way, it kind of reminds me that today's show, we cover so many things in every Friday, robotics and space and physics and on and on and on. Today's show has got a little more of a kind of medical related technology, even though the first story is not approved yet as a medical device and it's not available for insurance coverage purposes and so forth. It kind of felt to me like it related to medical technology. So today's show, unlike most shows, the last story of the 4 we do each week is medical related. In this case, we're going to kind of stay consistent with medical related things today. So the headline here comes from newscientist.com. Retinal images could predict future risk of heart or lung disease. What? Okay, retinal images. That's so interesting. Well, here we go. Want to know more about your future risk of developing heart or lung problems? Your retinal thickness might hold important clues. What? Researchers have previously established links between the thickness of the retina and whole body health, but a new study provides more detail about its potential for predicting future risks. So great.
It sounds
Now,
like the opening to like all those really bad, magazines. It's like, oh, he's like, oh, this one key factor means you're healthy, and it's like, hey, try these 8 exercises for a thicker retina today.
yeah.
I don't know, but it sounds like the opening to that.
Well, yeah, it's another one of these for at least me. Who knew that your retina thickness has correlation to general body health other than your eyes?
But you
It's
can't
fascinating to
but
me.
you cannot argue with Harvard and MIT. So
That's right. That's right. So the researchers here in this case included researchers from Harvard Medical School and MIT, a pretty good combination. And what these folks did is they used data from 44,828 participants found to have thinner retinas, and it was correlated with an increased risk of ocular, neurological, and cardiovascular disease. Most notably, this is the first study to find that a thinner retina increases someone's risk of developing a lung condition like bronchitis, or emphysema later in life. Now, where did these 44,828 participant database, where did this come from? Well, it comes from the United Kingdom, called the UK Biobank. In the show notes, I have a link. You can learn all about that. It's an enormous medical database that contains anonymous details about the health and genetics of around 500,000 people in the United Kingdom. Wow. The retinal images included in this database were captured using a non-invasive procedure called optical coherence tomography. The procedure uses light waves to take cross-section pictures of the retina. And ophthalmologists routinely use this technique to determine a patient's risk for various eye conditions, including macular degeneration and glaucoma. The procedure captures information about the retina, which is usually 0.5 millimeters thick, and its internal layers. One of the study authors from the Harvard Medical School hopes the study will eventually expand how optical coherence tomography is used. Beyond simply giving details about the eye, the researchers would like to see it become a tool for providing future health information about the whole body. Wow. While exciting, okay, here we go, reality check, and a good example of what Ben and I do. We look at initial, sometimes very initial research. Okay, so while exciting, the article says, this technology is still a long way off from immediate clinical application. Researchers are still unsure why retinal biology might correspond to systemic health, or what kind of mechanism might be driving the associations seen in this study and others. What's more, the researchers point out that in their paper that a lack of genetic diversity within the UK Biobank sample, that's the 44,000 plus people, limits the universal applicability of their conclusions, because 94% of the people who contributed to their data to the database have white European ancestry. So again, there's some really interesting things. It doesn't have a diverse database, early twinkle in the eye research, but the implications are profound and could be very, very interesting for future diagnostic purposes.
Yeah, it's not, the main factor that they're all going to use to identify, heart disease and whatnot. But, Ralph, if it's just another data point, and as they kind of develop, more data and they get more people, and hey, maybe even roll AI into the whole thing to kind of quickly scan, work through all these people. Hey, maybe it's just another way that we could say, hey, you have the indicator, you have the flag, let's escalate you up a little bit.
Yes.
And let's keep an eye on this. No pun intended, like you just said. Totally unintended, but it's just another marker. So hey, ladies and gentlemen, early diagnosis important, early prevention important, and still very, very cool. And again, I'm I'm a little disappointed that at your, at the end of the article, you kind of mentioned, they're still unsure why the retinal biology is correspondent to, systemic health. I am also curious why something that seems so like a part of the puzzle is almost like the most important indicator of the puzzle. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very curious. So story number 2. Story number 3. We're going to go ahead and go down a little bit. And like Rob said, more medical stuff. Again, from MIT. But this one could help people that, it's, I don't know. A couple of years ago, like hydrophobic material was all the craze, all the promise that, kind of hydrophobic stuff really had a promise. Well, this one has a lot of general applications, but more so for medical. So let's find out more in story number 3.
Yeah, story number 3 is a great example of a technology that was originally developed for an entirely different purpose. And a light bulb goes off in the head of the researchers and said, wait a minute, this might help over here with a problem and a challenge that's in the medical world. So this comes from MIT News, a wonderful website, of course. Gee, no surprise. Headline, an MIT spinout called Arnasi, Arnasi, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, begins applying LiquiGlide, no-stick technology to help patients. Subhead, the company that brought you no-stick toothpaste is moving into medical space with a lubricant for ostomy pouches and other products that can improve millions of lives. We're going to learn about ostomy and all this stuff. It's a little bit gross and disgusting, but very important, and many people wrestle with this issue. So here we go. In fact, in the show notes, we have a picture of an ostomy pouch on the lower hip area of a patient and so on. But here's the story. A no-stick technology invented by 2 MIT professors, initially commercialized as LiquiGlide in 2012, went viral for its uncanny ability to make materials that stick to their containers, think of ketchup, cosmetics, and toothpaste, slide out with ease. Definitely ketchup is a real one. I wasn't beating on the ketchup jar to make things come out. Now, the company that brought you Colgate no-stick toothpaste is moving into the medical space, and the applications could improve millions of lives. The company, which recently rebranded itself as the Arnasi Group, has developed an ambitious plan to launch 3 new biomedical products over the next 4 years. The first of these products, called Revel, Revel, is a deodorizing lubricant designed for ostomy pouches, which are used by individuals to collect bodily waste after digestive system surgery. So, friends, if you have a digestive system surgery, a lot of times they need to create a bypass for your urine and your fecal material, and they use these collective bags that are attached to your body. A little gross, but really a very common thing. Side note, more on ostomy pouches. In the show notes, we can give you all the information about that, what they are. It involves attaching these pouches to a stoma, which is a surgically created opening, and it has an adhesive around the opening of the bag. That's what it's related to. You can read more about that in the show notes. But here we go. Up to 1 million people rely on such pouches in the United States alone. Ostomy pouches must be emptied multiple times a day. And issues resulting from sticking or clogging can cause embarrassing, time-consuming situations for people relying on them. Well, enter Arnasi's solution. Arnasi's deodorizing lubricant can prevent clogging and simplify the ostomy pouch cleaning process. Unlike other options available today, one application of its lubricant works for the entire day, the Arnasi team says, and they designed a single unit dose that fits in your pocket for added convenience. It's not super, super high tech, friends, but what a great thing to think, oh, if it makes ketchup come out nice, could it help out over here? The fact that they thought about this, I think, is just amazing. So, Revel, Arnasi's FDA-registered product, officially launched last month in July, so it's very recent, and it has already received promising feedback from nurses and patients. Hooray, another great uplifting story. mechanical, but very important.
Yeah, not high tech, but
Yeah.
anything that makes people's lives easier, better, just improves quality of life. Because hey, it sounds like you got enough on your plate as it is. Make things easier is always important. So very, very
Yeah.
cool. And oddly enough, first time hearing about no stick toothpaste. So there you
Yeah.
go. Learn about that too. Story, and maybe I'll have to scrub the sink every other day. Story number two. Story number three. Well, no, I'm sorry, not two. That was story number three. Story number four, our last one of the show
Yeah.
before we head into the honorable mentions. But story number four is going to be about, well, last week we talked about almost like this electric eel kind of battery that they said could be one day adapted to, to people, internal organs. It could be stretched, it could be moved, it could mold to people's,
Yeah.
organs and skin, stuff like that. Not the easiest thing in the world. That's why it's always such a breakthrough, is because the human body, it's kind of wet and mushy and it moves a lot, and it's really not a good environment for technology, really in any sense of the word. But story number four, may have an answer for at least your heart, because sometimes you just need a nice old a Band-Aid for your heart. Band-Aid's like the Band-Aid's the brand name. The adhesive
Yes.
strip for your heart.
Yeah.
So
you
there we go. Story
Yes.
number four.
Yeah. Yeah. This comes from the website for the University of Colorado in Boulder. And their headline for their little announcement was, even though you're right, it is a protected brand name. But in the headline was, a Band-Aid for the heart. New 3D printing method makes this and much more possible. So great headline there. And I couldn't resist it. And the image is quite compelling as well. If you have the show notes, you're seeing the image. In the quest to develop lifelike materials to replace and repair human body parts, scientists face a formidable challenge. Real tissues are often both strong and stretchable and vary in shape and size. There's also the issue of adhesion. The team of researchers at the University of Colorado in Boulder, in collaboration with scientists at the University of Pennsylvania, a nice collaboration, has taken a critical step toward cracking the code or tackling this problem. They developed a new way to 3D print material that is at once elastic enough to withstand a heart's persistent beating, tough enough to endure the crushing load placed on joints, if that's the application, and easily shapeable to fit a patient's unique defects or problem. And better yet, drum roll please, it sticks easily to wet tissue. That is an enormous achievement.
Yeah.
Their breakthrough, described in the August the 2nd edition of the journal Science, helps pave the way toward a new generation of biomaterials, from internal bandages that deliver drugs directly to the heart to cartilage patches and needle-free sutures. The whole area of suture technology is another fascinating field. One specific material known as a hydrogel. We've been talking lately about hydrogels a lot.
It keeps coming up.
Yeah. So one specific material known as hydrogel, the stuff that contact lenses are made of, has been a favorite prospect for fabricating artificial tissues, organs, and implants. A little bit of background here. But getting these from the lab to the clinic has been tough because traditional 3D printed hydrogels tend to either break when stretched, crack under pressure, or are too stiff to mold around tissues, living tissue.
Me too.
Yeah.
Crack under pressure. Same.
Yeah, and stiffness I can relate to. To achieve both strength and elasticity within 3D printed hydrogels, the Colorado University research team took a cue from worms, which repeatedly tangle and entangle themselves around one another in three-dimensional worm blobs that have both solid and liquid-like properties. Side note for a second here, a little comment. I'm always astonished how researchers, scientists, and so forth can look at the world and think, isn't it weird how worms, sometimes a globule of worms all in it, what does this mean? What is the principles going on? Oh, we could apply that same thing over here. I'm amazed. I'm just amazed at how the people's minds work.
Really does take all forms.
Yes. So previous research had shown that incorporating similarly intertwined chains of molecules known as entanglements can make them tougher. This is how it's related to the worm blobs. Their new printing method, known as CLEAR, which is an acronym for continuous curing after light exposure aided by redox initiation, wow, that's a mouthful, follows a series of steps to entangle long molecules inside 3D printed materials, much like those intertwined worms, the inspiration you're referring to. When the team stretched and weight loaded these materials in the lab, one researcher even ran over a sample with her bike. They found them to be exponentially tougher than materials printed with a standard method of 3D printing known as digital light processing. Better yet, they also conformed and stuck to animal tissues and organs. They could adhere to moist animal tissues and organs. That's an incredible achievement. Co-first author Matt Davidson, a research associate involved with this project, said, quote, "We can now 3D print adhesive materials that are strong enough to mechanically support tissue. We have never been able to do that before." Ta-da! I love this. Great way to end our 4 key stories for this week.
Yeah, has a lot of promise for a lot of different applications, and look forward to, hopefully never needing the stuff, but if I do need this stuff, then it being available. So
Yes.
good job to our little wormy friends for inspiring
Yay.
that. A new meaning for heartworms. So there you go. Story number 4, and ladies and gentlemen, 4 is usually what we like to keep it to because we know time is precious, time is short. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the program. But you may notice, if you're following along in the show notes, there's more stories, or at least just, headlines with a few little tidbits. If you want to find out more, Ralph provided the links to these. These are our honorable mentions. They are not worse. They are not less. They are simply ones that we don't have time for. So for everyone out there who is just listening, you can head out to computeramerica.com. You can find the show notes, and you can find these at the bottom of the show notes. But let's at least give them the headlines, Ralph.
Yes, and this first one comes from Inc. magazine, and by the way, many other sources covered this story as well. The headline here, friends, is going to sound like, what? You can't be serious. Here's the headline. This Bill Gates-backed startup is making butter from carbon dioxide instead of cows. You have to read the article. It's just makes your mind just
butter from
explode.
thin air. I like it.
Yeah, you got it. Just what? The next one comes from interestingengineering.com. Headline, Giant AI, there's AI, Giant AI robot doubles solar panel installation speed, cuts cost in half. The machine is called Maximo, uses AI-powered computer vision to precisely place solar panels in giant solar panel fields outside, right? Mm-hmm. Very interesting and very promising, too, because if we can accelerate the process of just installing these panels, say, over parking lots or in open fields and so forth, this could help generate more and more and more clean energy. The next one, from space.com, Mercury, the planet Mercury, has a layer of diamonds, plural, 10 miles thick. NASA spacecraft finds. What? A layer of diamonds 10 miles thick? That's just too weird. You can bet people would like to go and harvest that stuff. And let's see. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, no, I am shocked, but at the same time, I am not, because space is weird. But please, go ahead.
Space is weird. Isn't that the truth? And our last honorable mention to wrap up the show today comes from SciTech Daily. And the headline is Plants may soon provide essential nutrients found in breast milk. Vegan breast milk is what we're talking about here, folks. A great story as well. And that wraps things up for this week.
That is, and trust me, as someone who kind of grew up and for the first couple of months of their lives had to rely on formula, I am, so thankful for the companies that are able to out there and produce it for these babies, and hey, make it sounds like even better. So a lot of fun stories in the honorable mentions. Go check those out, and a nice medical heavy centric show for today. So thank you so much for that, Ralph. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you found this fun, you found it uplifting, and hey, you want to come back for more. Every Friday, Rob joins us, so catch us here next Friday. Everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.